What is going on, everybody? This is RJ with Twin Halos. This is where we build and maintain your athleticism. Thank you so much for joining me here. Today's agenda, we are going to be going over who Twin Halos is, what I do, and then at the end, I'm going to give you the techniques that I use to avoid my shoulder surgery. So let's get right into it. I'm going to bring up my notes. That way I don't miss anything. So like I said, my name is RJ. I'm a massage therapist and personal trainer, and I develop online programs to help build and maintain athleticism. My ultimate goal is just to make sure that everybody's pain-free when they're doing whatever activity they decide they want to do. So that includes you that's listening on iTunes or you that's watching this on YouTube. We've also got some other social media avenues that you can find us at. We're on Instagram and on Facebook. I keep saying we, but there's no we. It's just me. I'm the only guy here that does everything. That won't be for long because this is a lot of work just doing this by myself. So anyway, short timeline about fitness and who I am and why I do what I do. So I'm prior military, ex-Air Force to be exact, did 6 years. And that was a crazy time. Definitely worth it, but I couldn't stick around for the 20. I don't care about the retirement or the free healthcare. I don't plan on being sick forever. So I'll find other ways around that. So prior military, the reason why I bring this up and how it correlates to fitness is because I left high school weighing at about 133 pounds. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, dude, you look like that right now. That's not true. I weigh more than that, probably 25 pounds more than that right now, which is still not good. So the reason I bring that up is because over the course of the 6 weeks of basic training, or it was 6 weeks when I went, I don't know what it is now for Air Force, but I weighed 133 pounds. And at the end of 6 weeks, I weighed 143. So I gained 10 pounds and all we did was body weight exercises and we ran a ton. So we drank tons of water because we were in San Antonio. It was so hot. They were always worried about dehydration. So we had our canteens always full of water. So we ate about 3 meals a day and consistently hydrating over and over and over. So a lot of this weight could be contributed to just the water weight. So it's not like I gained tons of mass because I still didn't look that different. I just had shorter hair. That was it. Nothing really changed. But once I got to my first duty station, which was in California, there was a lot of guys doing the bodybuilder routines. And for those that are in the military, everybody does the bodybuilder routines. There's no performance-based workouts. There's no anything that's like that. If it's just bodybuilder stuff, everyone's doing that. Everyone's reading the magazines. Everyone's buying all the supplements, doing all that stuff. So that's what I was around, and that's what I started doing. And that's what I did through high school too. So when I was playing sports, I would work out. I ate all the crap, all the the protein before protein actually tasted good. That was me. It was horrible. It was a horrible time to start wanting to get into the supplements. It tasted like crap. But I don't take any now. And I'll tell you why in a second. But God, that was so bad. So the biggest time that I actually started to gain weight in the military was when I went on my first deployment. And I think everybody on their first deployment just wants to gain so much weight. And I wanted it so bad that I took every supplement besides steroids. I took everything. Creatine, protein, a powder form of HGH, testosterone boosters, 2 forms of creatine, actually powder and the pill. For whatever reason, I don't know what I was doing to my body. I think daily I was taking like 20 some pills, 22 pills. It was ridiculous. I was young and dumb and wanted to do something crazy so I can just start gaining weight. So I left my deployment at 139 pounds, or I left to go to my deployment at 139 pounds. At the end of 3 months, I gained 30 pounds. I was 31 pounds. I was 170 pounds. But again, there was a ton of water weight. I looked soft. I was a skinny marshmallow looking dude. It was not good. I didn't look lean. I wasn't where I wanted to be as far as looks go, but my strength was definitely there. 100-pound dumbbells, repping them out 10 times, that was no problem. But the size never came. The strength definitely did, but the size was never there. And eventually I just gave up. I was like, you know what? I'm strong. I'll just stick with that. So after my first deployment, I changed career fields drastically and joined a band. So now I'm playing drums full time. So I go from no rules, or I go from rules to no rules, and where drinking on the job is encouraged. So being in the band was awesome. And I'll save this story for a future podcast, but we also made it to Warped Tour, which was pretty crazy as a reggae band. And if you know anything about Warped Tour, there's no reggae at Warped Tour. It's just a bunch of screaming, screamo type music. And we stuck out so bad that everybody knew us. So it was kind of a good tactic. But anyway, the reason why I bring up the band is because there's a lot of talk in the fitness industry about posture now. And it's been going on for years, actually. And what I didn't understand when I was playing drums and sitting in the van, going to the next venue, going to the next city, I didn't understand that how much sitting we were doing, that actually affected what I did in the gym, that affected my posture, and it could eventually lead to some sort of issue. And it did. Because I'm a drummer, I sit down and then I cross my arms in order to play the drums. So my pecs got really tight. My shoulders started to become forward. And then my head, I was headbanging and basically headbanged my neck into whiplash. So I had this really bad forward head posture and never knew it until I saw some pictures. Some of my friends were taking pictures and I was like, wow, I look horrible when I'm playing drums. From the side, it just looks so bad. So one day I came home after working out and all I did was reach my right arm over my left shoulder. As I did that, I heard a pop in my right shoulder. It hurt like hell after that, it hurt like hell to lift my arm up over shoulder height. Every time I did that, there was a pinching and it just was so sharp. It just hurt so bad. I didn't know what was going on. But ultimately what I had developed was I developed my own shoulder impingement. So basically I hurt myself by the way I was training, the amount of sitting that I was doing, because not only did I enjoy playing drums, but I also rode motocross. So everything I liked doing required to sit. So over time, this all took a toll on me, not knowing how to take care of myself. So once I decided, okay, I'm going to start looking into how can I start fixing my shoulder, because I went to the doctor. And so after I hurt my shoulder, I decided, like everybody else, I'm going to go check out the doctor and see what he can suggest to help my shoulder pain. And they did an x-ray and they did an MRI. And the results were that, hey, you need shoulder surgery. I was like, nah, let's do something else. So the doctor said, no, you're gonna have to at least stop doing motocross. You're gonna have to stop playing drums. You're gonna have to stop working out. I said, okay, for how long? He said, from now on. I was 24 at the time. He said, just from now on. Basically, I would have to stop working out, stop doing what I was doing, and rot the rest of my life. I was like, this guy is crazy. I'm gonna go get a second opinion. I did, and unfortunately, that doctor gave me the same thing. You need shoulder surgery. I was like, no, because I can lift stuff up, no issue. So as I carry my drums inside the venue, there was no issue. But it was when I lifted my arm up overhead that I had an issue. So I was like, okay, let me try something else. So what I did, I tried chiropractic. That definitely started helping, but it wasn't that wasn't the key to fixing this issue. So I got adjusted. The first chiropractor that I went to was horrible. The following one was actually one that was worth my time and money. And so I got adjusted and it started to help my shoulder, but it didn't fix anything. It didn't fix it long term. It lasted 3 to 5 days And then eventually that stuff came back because I kept sitting in this bad posture. I kept training the same way that I was training before. Lots of chest, lots of biceps, a lot of the show muscles, the ones you can see in the mirror. So because I kept training like that, I just kept putting myself in this bad posture and wasn't fixing anything. I just kept getting adjusted, kept creating this bad posture, and then go fix it just for a short time rather. But what I started to notice, or at least in the band, I was like, you know what? I want out of the band. I wanted to get a big kid job. I want to do something different now because we weren't getting to where I wanted to be. So I wanted out. So somebody had mentioned, I got a massage actually. My dad had gotten me a massage right after my deployment once I came back. And I was talking to the massage therapist that was working on me, and she had mentioned, hey, you should try massage therapy once you get out. It's a great career field. Just kind of told me about it. So I did the band thing for 5 years. And then once I decided I wanted out of that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this massage thing. So all the studying that I did, I say studying, all the Googling that I did as I was weight training throughout my military career, I thought I knew enough about the body that I can just skim through massage therapy school. But the first day of anatomy and physiology, it blew my mind. And I was like, I don't know a damn thing about the body at all. So I was instantly hooked from that day on. And I knew that's what I was going to do once I got out of the band. So got out of the band, graduated from massage school, and then started working there. But when I was in massage school, what I started to notice is we would do clinicals, which was we basically did practice massages for really cheap. And what I started to notice was that there were so many pain patterns going on. People had neck issues, people had low back issues, knee, shoulder. You name the joint, everybody had something going wrong. But these were all sedentary people, and I couldn't understand. I was like, what is going on? All these people have this crazy pains. They've got knee replacement, hip replacement. Now, they were all older, all sedentary, but they all had issues. And I looked at that like, I don't want to be that old and be in that much pain. So I started to learn, how do I correct this rather than just put them to sleep on the bed and not really help? I'm not helping their issue. Or I didn't know how to do it because as I'm working on them, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing underneath the skin where I'm touching. This needs to, I want to learn more. So these two guys, if you're a massage therapist out there, these are the two guys that I started to learn from. One of them was James Wozlowski and Eric Dalton. Eric Dalton was the first one that I was introduced to. And his work is so good. This is like the like physical therapy, basically. It is such this blew my mind once I started doing it. Once I started working on some of my friends and noticing some of their neck issues as I was working on them because I needed to practice. So I started working and understanding how to apply these techniques, and their headaches started to go away. Their range of motion was increased. Their shoulder pain would go away. I started to understand this is how to correct my issue. So what I started to look into, how do I take care of myself? Because not every therapist cares enough to do this stuff. A lot of therapists that I work with or have worked with, they were all about the relaxation. They enjoyed that side of it more than the therapeutic or the posture correction type stuff and the sports performance side of it. So that was my issue. I didn't have anybody to work on me that could do the techniques that I had. Not that there was a scarcity in the techniques. It was the fact that I was around people that didn't want to do them. So what I had to do was learn, how do I take care of myself? So I used a foam roller and a lacrosse ball and just learned, how do I do this to me and just take care of myself? And that's ultimately how Twin Halos came about, because with massage, I could only go so far. I could only take somebody so far with massage. So once I combine that with personal training, that is what helps people really get out of pain. And basically that concretes in new patterns. That way the massage gives room for the bones to move, and then we actually move them with personal training. The purpose, I'm so glad that Florida has this law that as a massage therapist, it's illegal. It was technically illegal for me to say, or to prescribe anybody to go stretch. I said, okay, there's got to be a loophole. How do I get around this? So I had to get my massage or my personal trainer's license, personal trainer certification to actually say that, hey, you need to start stretching. So that's how I was kind of forced to do it. And I'm glad I did, because that's how all of this came about, is learning. Just because you become flexible doesn't mean you have strength. You've got to create both, which is what should be understood as mobility. Mobility's been thrown around, and that's my definition, is it's strength and flexibility combined. That is mobility. That's what you want. You can't, because if you just have flexibility with no strength, you're definitely set up for injury. So after I did my self-massage and, using a lacrosse ball and a foam roller, I was able to alleviate my shoulder pain, and I have yet to have that issue come up. So I was able to avoid shoulder surgery by doing these things right here. So what I did, I took a lacrosse ball, and the way I do it now is, if you were walking through a doorway and the left side of the door, that little molding, you want to put the lacrosse ball against the molding and the wall. So now you're going to work the left pec. What you're going to do is from the midline, from your breastbone out. And what you're going to do is place a lacrosse ball into that door jamb, or the next to the door jamb, press your chest into it, and then drag the tissues to the right. Basically, you're pushing that ball into that little piece of molding. You want the ball not to move, because what you want is what's called a fascial drag. So fascia is the connective tissue. This is why it's called a fascial drag. You want the skin to pull the tissues underneath it to actually start creating more of a change underneath where you're pressing and applying that technique. Now, you do this through the entire pec. You do this to the shoulder, and you do this to your lat, which is the big muscle underneath your armpit. That's also, you're going to do that, the lat, with a foam roller. Now, I have all these techniques on my YouTube channel. So if you're listening, go to my YouTube after this and go check out those techniques and apply them today to alleviate your shoulder issue. So once I started doing that, I was missing one thing. And the one thing that I started to do was work on my biceps. That's also on my YouTube channel, because the biceps actually attach into the shoulder blade, into the scapula. I didn't know that until I went to anatomy and physiology and started understanding all the attachments. Once I realized, oh, you know what, I'm missing one, something that's attaching to the shoulder blade, and I started working my bicep, and that started to bring my shoulder blades back a little bit more. Then something that I realized was I undertrained my back so much that my chest was so overdeveloped. Not that it was huge, but that the muscle tension was so tight that I could not get a good contraction in my back until I started to alleviate the tension that was in my chest and my biceps, because now I can get a full contraction in the back. And that's when my back started to grow and started to blow up quick. I started to realize, oh, if I have more range of motion, I can get a bigger contraction and just make a quality, start building quality muscle. So it was like, it made so much sense after the fact of years of training and years of going through all of this. So I've been doing this for about 4 years now, teaching this type of work, how to apply self-massage, how to train better, and how to alleviate pain that you may be experiencing. So that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years. And that's ultimately what I do here. I want to be able to give somebody the tools to take care of themselves, because I'm not going to be there. I'm not always available, and I can't travel the country to help everybody. So that's my whole purpose, is to have this online business and give you the tools, and I want to be the resource for you to come ask, hey, what can I do about, my wrist, my elbow, something like that. And I want to be able to give you the technique on how to start taking care of yourself that way, because there's so many people that are in pain. And what's crazy is I've worked on some professional athletes and semi-professional athletes. And what's crazy is they also have similar pain patterns to a few to some sedentary people. That's crazy. That sounds completely abnormal, but they had similar issues. They had very tight shoulders, very tight hips. They had some sort of pain, but they were able to cheat it just enough to be really good at their sport. This is not just for athletic. This is not just for sedentary people. This is for, if you're a human, this is who my business will help you. And it's hard because every business meeting that I've ever gone to, they're like, you got to be so specific. You got to be this and that. Like my specificity is humans. That's it. Nothing changes. The only thing that changes is their sport or their activity. That's it. I don't like the fitness industry the way you have to basically pick a niche in the fitness industry and then go for that one. I don't like having to learn a lot about a little bit. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to just learn about high intensity training. That's only one aspect of training. I want to learn more and more and more because I love playing multiple sports. I love motocross. There's not too many people that play sports and ride motocross and shoot guns and do all this other active stuff. That's why I don't like just knowing about this one way to work out. I don't like that. So I'm going to fight the system. Maybe that's bad for business. I don't care. We shall see if it works out. But that's my mentality. That's basically my spiel and my story. I was able to avoid shoulder surgery because I started to learn how to take care of myself. And that's what I want for you. So what I've done is I put together a program called Ground Zero. It's a bodyweight strength training program that develops mobility by using these two tools, a foam roller and a lacrosse ball. Now, I know, hey, it's my first podcast. He's trying to sell us something. No, just trying to let you know that if you wanted to start applying these certain techniques, you can go to my YouTube channel, get the stuff for some of this stuff for free, and then just take those techniques and then apply it to the rest of your body if you wanted to. Or if you wanted something programmed, I also have that too. I just want to be a resource because if there's so many people in pain and there's a few things being taught wrong. And if I ever teach something wrong, I'll either take down the video, I'll reshoot the video, or I'll shoot another video saying, hey, this is why I was wrong. And I'll post one that's right. I'm not afraid to be wrong. So if I find something or if I start talking to somebody that's like, hey, you're teaching this X, Y, and Z wrong, I'll want to have a conversation. Why is it wrong? And if we conclude, okay, yeah, it is wrong, then sure, I'll take it down. But that's my open-mindedness. I'm always willing to learn. And with this podcast, I'm trying to find other like-minded people. And I'll tell you one thing right now. I want to add more people to this podcast as far as interviews go. But I will tell you my weakness right now. My weakness is nutrition, for sure. And I hate that some trainers say, it's 70% nutrition, 30% working out. If it's that big, why don't we know more about nutrition? I think that's crazy. So because I know I'm weak, not like I don't know anything about nutrition, but I don't feel comfortable giving that information because there's so many physiological differences between person to person that I can't just give, here's one ebook for everybody. That doesn't work that way. Until I learn more and more specific nutrition, I don't feel comfortable giving nutrition facts or nutrition help just yet. So I'm being as transparent as I can be, especially when it comes to nutrition. I am not going to give nutrition advice just yet until I have somebody that can actually teach me a little bit more. And there's also more certifications that I'm going to get in nutrition that is coming very, very soon. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I hope you found this informative. I'm going to keep this podcast a little bit short. There's plenty more information that's going to be coming in the future. If you have some sort of issue after you hear this and you want to contact me, you could contact me through YouTube, through Facebook, through Instagram, and they're all at Twin Halos. You can also contact me through twinhalos.com. That's my website, and that's where you can find everything that I was talking about. And you can find that program, Ground Zero. So please, if you have any issues or you want to know anything you want to know more about the things that I was talking about, don't hesitate to contact me. So I'm going to cut it short right there. So thank you so much for joining me here. My name is RJ. Again, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, and for those Android users, Stitcher will be coming soon. I don't have that just yet, so I got to run through some hoops for that. But thank you so much for joining me here. I know this was short, but I hope there was enough information for you to take care of your shoulder and start to learn how to take care of yourself, at least taking care of your shoulder. I want you to avoid surgery the way I did. All right, that's it for me. My name is RJ. That's it for Twin Halos. Thank you for listening. And YouTube, thank you for watching. I'm out.